My name is George Kilburn. I'm the author of the book Country Lawyer. It's a collection of cases, characters, and comments that I ran into in the country practice in Sullivan, Indiana. Life in rural Indiana was much different, much simpler than it was when I lived in Berkeley and practiced in Berkeley. It was such a contrast that it really was an insight into humanity. This started in 1957 when I went back to Indiana, and I came back to Berkeley in 1963. But it never ceased to amaze me the difference in the kind of case that I had there as in contrast to the ones I had in Berkeley. A case involving Jim White's pigs, for instance. It's like you'd step back into another century. One of my favorite characters was old Louis Meyer. He was a lawyer, an old bachelor whose office was right across the street from mine. So I would see him coming up the street, kind of bent over and shuffling along, the little old man, and he was really something. For reasons unknown, presumably due to his advanced age and forgetfulness, Louis, who usually wore both suspenders and a belt, wore neither that day. In his presentation, Louis moved over in front of the jury. He slowly moved closer and closer to the jury until he was leaning on the rail. He stood there leaning forward for some time as he waved his arms and harangued the jury. Suddenly he straightened up and moved back, arms held upward and outspread. Something popped. Instantaneously, Louis' pants dropped to his knees, exposing his shirt tail and the bottom of his BVDs. Louis was paralyzed. He stood there for a full 30 seconds. No one moved. I think the target audience in this book would be any lawyer who tries cases and the general public in seeing lawyers at work, because this describes what a lawyer's work is and how he works with people so that they'll know the general situation as it was probably 50 to 100 years ago. It was so different.